What would 2009 you not believe about the 2019 world? That your parents, who used to warn you not to trust anyone on the internet, would be forwarding Facebook posts about how Hillary invented AIDS. Donald Trump being president of the United States. Elon Musk literally launching a car into solar orbit. JavaScript being the most popular programming language. Yeah, that JavaScript thing really gets me. I really thought it would be Python. That it's okay to meet some stranger online then proceed to get into said stranger's car in order to travel somewhere. Like people didn't hail random strangers down on the street for a ride. I mean, online dating was a thing back in '09. I picked up a few girls for our first date back then. I'm referencing Uber BTW, not a bad contribution, so still valid I guess. The success of Trump's campaign strategy. And how he continues to have support. Well, people like Cheetos, and Trump is a Cheeto. When you're as successful as Trump you'll have a similar following. Until then GL. Are you saying, if I work really hard I can inherit all my success from my daddy too? His campaign strategy was don't be politically correct and fight China. If I gave you 10 million tomorrow I highly doubt you'd be able to double it, let alone become a billionaire. That people actually think that not vaccinating their kids is a good idea. I'm in a third world country, so I would have to say Wi-Fi and smartphones everywhere. I remember when Wi-Fi first came out, and thinking there was no way that could even be possible. This is the only big one I've read in this thread. I'm in the US, so many people I know had iPhones in '09, but the growth worldwide has definitely changed things. Honestly, it still say the smartphone thing even in the US. I'm an early adopter, and people used to come up to me in restaurants and say, is it one of those Apple phone things? Like I was carrying something magical. I knew people were interested in them, but I never thought they'd be that commonplace. I remembered the first time my cousin showed me that you can watch YouTube on a phone. That stuff was mind-blowing. I thought that we were destined to watch downloaded videos. That there would be a movie where Spider-Man was holding on to MJ Alney while flying through the air while holding the Infinity Gauntlet before landing on a Pegasus. Grey's Anatomy would still be going, but Degrassi would be cancelled. Also, the end of Big Bang Theory lasting so long and getting so popular. 4 nerds and a 6 make lowbrow jokes disguised as intelligent humor. 10-year-old me, I actually wondering if they going to make more Star Wars movies in the future. 19-year-old me, it's a dumpster fire. A rapper called 69 with rainbow hair and teeth would get hundreds of millions of views and become insanely rich, one get arrested and face decades in jail, then proceed to comply with the state to reduce that sentence. Takashi really did a rap career speedrun. 2009 me wouldn't believe my dad would make it to heaven so soon. The Cubs have won the World Series. Probably the level to which we are addicted to the digital world. George R.R. Martin hasn't published Winds of Winter. The effect the media has on shaping people's beliefs. It's honestly terrifying how easy it is to change a person's belief if someone on social media or on TV tells you what to think. That the original Four Loko formula was taken away from us. That the worries about high school, the friendships from there, and the drama that happened didn't really matter that much anymore. Things really do get better. It was a really dark time for me that year. Minecraft would still be relevant. That A Song of Ice and Fire would be adapted for television and actually be the most popular TV show of the decade. All the same people who made fun of me for reading a book about dragons in high school are tweeting about it and naming their babies Khaleesi. Naming their babies Khaleesi seems to be yet another thing they failed to predict. How Iron Man, no matter how awesome, would turn into a ground record-breaking, unforeseen franchise that would change how producers, audiences, mega movie corporations would view series and franchises from now on. This changes everything. If you went back 10 to 15 years and told comic book fans that Iron Man would kick off such an enormous franchise, they'd laugh at you. Not Spider-Man, not X-Men, Iron Man. I watch Iron Man usually once a month. I just love the movie and it never gets boring for me. It's a really solid film, and I feel like it's the most grounded of all the Marvel movies. You can definitely believe it's possible. But Iron Man movies aren't very good. We don't allow wrong opinions here. Downvoted. I think perhaps just how angry everyone seems to have become. Although 9/11 was a defining moment, I don't remember the social strife we have now, although maybe I just have a bad memory. The 2008 recession seems to have been the starting whistle for this growing discontent of the new millennium. Many people I used to be close to have become militantly political, in the sharing propaganda memes, and bringing up hot button issues at parties kind of way. I cannot stand when people bring up those subjects at a time and place where people just want to enjoy themselves. If said person is so passionate about religion politics, then write a blog or something. How familiar with the Gear Wars are you exactly? I heard it was entirely about the gears. Am I wrong? That's just your youth. We've always had bad political divides. The way storage and processing capabilities in computers have increased. I didn't even dream of having over multiple terabytes of storage or 16 GB of RAM. I was truly happy with 500 GB and 4 GB. Anyone in the computer industry knows this. There's actually a model for Ito vertical bar. Essentially every 18 months the price of current technology halves due to the creation of new technology. Yes, I know, but that wouldn't make it believable in 2009 to me, as I was a teenager who just earned money for his PC. The perception difference of a teen versus an adult is quite different. I'm seriously curious how long Moore's law stays true. I think at one point we'll have reached the tiniest we can possibly go. There being more than 2 genders. There still being no more than 2 relevant parties in the US. There's still only 2 genders. Everything else is made up. That new countries like South Sudan would be created while I was alive. That digital cameras will disappear and phones will the new cameras. I probably would have said that DSLRs would become the de facto standard for photography and budget film production. That I don't care about getting C's between the ages of 8-10. 2009. 9-year-old me firmly believed that if you got a C you would fail a class. That I didn't marry Nick Jonas. You will see 2 more different live-action Spider-Men. Avengers will become an actual real thing on film and become one of the biggest things on the planet, and will have real friends. PewDiePie being adored as the hero of the common people. That I'm terrible at football. Like many 9-year-old boys, I was determined to play in the NFL. I was a garbage football player and haven't played since I was 13. American football. The Tigers are bad at baseball. Very bad. Middle high school students are very different now compared to teens in 2009. We can now ray trace Minecraft. That we have a POTUS who tries to govern via his Twitter feed, followed closely by Trump as president. Southwest and The Last GD being the fandom dividing movie it was. Manchester City just won the treble. Trump is president of the United States of America. Edward from Twilight would be playing Batman. Playing video games is widespread and well accepted by society. The sheer amount of podcast and my commitment to listening to a dozen plus weekly. Liberals are still in. Phones, work, skin, pants, money, good computer, boyfriend. Smartphones. How widespread they are, and the capabilities they have. I never would have guessed that I could watch shows on my phone instantly, or listen to music on YouTube without the video. The fact that I can text someone while a song or video is playing. Mind blown. The advancement in technology, you never expect stuff. That I would have 80 Mbps fiber broadband and it's not fast enough for my needs. That I would own an iPhone. I was a poor kid and touch screens seemed more gimmicky than practical back then. That I'm married with a house, thinking about kids soon. Also, Australia has had 6 prime ministers in that time, none of which have completed a full term. Everyone is offended, all the time, about everything. We have gotten dumber and things have gotten way worse so, and also My Chemical Romance breaks up. That I'm not short, I'm just average height. That I would lose a whole lot of weight. The prevalence of social media. I didn't even have more than a flip phone. Instagram didn't even exist. Simpler times. That we have floating drinks. You know, those weird levitating sensor things. I was a kid, so I never imagined that would be possible. Women tweet out their rapes instead of reporting them to the police. Back in 2009. I assumed Twitter would be the playground for one-liner comedy, not a conduit for outrage. Pokemon would explode to popularity again, like it did in the late 90s with Pokemon Go, and also a live-action Pokemon movie. Hasn't it always been popular? My kid has been obsessed his whole life and I've spent more than the last decade buying merchandise that has never been hard to find whatsoever. Around 2003 to I'd say 2013, Pokemon was pretty much on its low point, even going as far as replacing the previous 4Kids dubbing of the Pokemon TV show to in-house dub, because it was getting too expensive and a lot of Pokemon hype has died down. Then I would say Pokemon X and Y brought up the hype a bit, because it was the first 3D main Pokemon game. But when Pokemon Go was released, that has exploded in popularity like how it was back in the late 90s. The ultra-polarized culture since Trump's election. That a TV star would be president. That Facebook and Instagram would breed a whole new generation. Despite how bad things looked, we were sitting on the cusp of the longest economic expansion since the Great Depression. How structured and integrated into our daily lives social media and the smartphone has become. The organization and evolution of the internet in general. There's 2 million genders in 2019. That Michelle Phan left YouTube. That in a couple of years I'll be using cream on my shoulder as birth control. That we, the nation of the United States, have once and for all time have shirked off any premise whatsoever that we are the good guys anymore. We are not the good guys. We are not the bad guys. We are just those guys. I actually got older. TF kinda bull is this. I was supposed to stay 16 forever. My desperate urge to not to have suicidal tendencies